gonna record it. All right. So yeah, so the project demo. Okay, so this is what we require. Now it's gonna be a little bit more formal than you thought, but for those of you who did the mobile development course, it's something similar, but in the mobile course we didn't require it too much and just show a kind of a live demo of your app. But then this one, what we really want is a kind of an investor pitch type of presentation. Okay, and you know, you can think about that as like a Shark Tank presentation if you see that show before. Something short, concise, but it very effective. All right, so um, I have this outline here. I want to show you that, you know, every team should follow and then try to make your presentation based on that guidance. All right. But before that, the reason I want to talk this one very formally about the demo is because this is actually a very important skill you need to have. You know, everyone knows presentation is important, but we're particularly talking about uh, how to present your tech project as a software engineer. And you don't have to have business background or business major to do this. Everyone's supposed to actually be able to present your project, you know, from both technical and non-technical perspective very effectively. Okay, I just want to remind you, like every year, all these big companies they have their own events. They're trying to release new products. I think Apple recently did another one, right? Or is that today or yesterday about their new MacBook? And every time they host the event, try to make a big deal, and all the news start cover all of this. It become a very big trend. Okay, and then some days don't have a technical background, but some of them do, and then but then they all can, you know, deliver this very effectively. These are the big companies, but also for the startup companies. One day you're also going to work for startup companies, and this is even more important. And then from the beginning of the company all the way, you know, until you reach to a certain level or go to IPO, you just need to do this demo again and again. You need to demo this one to the investors, you need to demo this one to customers, to partners, and you need to demo this one when you try to get some of the people on board to work with you together. So you need to run these demos all the time. All right. So like this one here, I'm just showing you some of the accelerator programs. Okay, the most famous one is called YC, the Y Combinator. And then normally at the end of their program, they will hold this demo day. And then they invite a lot of investors to come here, and all the teams are going to present. I'm going to show you a couple of examples later on, and then about their projects. And then if whoever interested will maybe reach out to the team and then, you know, invest on the company. So that's how the demo day works, but it's really important. That's you just need to show your project very effectively within a very short period of time. And also, besides the demo day, you often need to go to different events, conferences, trade shows to kind of show your project. This is not a conference. This is an event called South by Southwest. I'm not sure how many of you heard about that one. It's a very famous kind of event um, for tech startups, but also for music and movie stuff. So it's every year in Austin, Texas, every March. I don't think they had that this year, but normally it's a big event. We actually went there when we were working on you know, the AR company, and then basically set up all these booths here and then try to present all this technologies. People stop by, and a lot of them are actually investors. So that's where what we did back in 2013, I think. You know, that with the booth here, and then try to you know, gave all the different demos. It's kind of something you have to do as you do the startup. All right. So you know, very important that you need to know how to present your things very effectively. Also, as I shared in the early days of the class, that when we were, you know, working on a startup company, you know, we try to talk to these companies, and then try to solve it. And every time we just set up a meeting and then go to talk to them and then present the project and show a bunch of demos. And then you can just do that online. And then we kind of had some discussions and try to sell it. And then you just need to have to do so many different demos and presentations all the time. I think over the past year, like half year in 2012 to 2013, I think we ran about 40 to 50 different demos with all the different companies. It wasn't easy, but it's definitely a very good experience, to really show you how you can show and demo all of this effectively. All right. Even if you don't work in the big companies, okay, so even if you don't work in the startup companies, just for the big company, you often need to do the demo. For example, most of the big companies are following the agile development. Normally, at the end of the cycle, the team will host a little like internal team presentation or team demo. Basically, everybody will present their feature, they finished during the past cycle. It's a very good way for people to know each other's progress, and then also to know how they're doing, and then if this feature can be integrated with each other's work. It's a very important thing to do for the team to have everyone in the same page, but also more importantly, it's a very important stage for you to present your work to show your ability. Okay, so not every team do this one every week, but there are a lot of teams that they will do this periodically. Anyway, within a company, there are so many opportunities for you to present a lot of technical stuff. All right, so knowing how to present those effectively is really important. Okay. Other thing like hackathons, right? A lot of you have done this. I don't know how many of you are still active in hackathons. I know it's easier to do right now with all the online things going on. And but at the end, it's all about a tech demo you present. This is the Hack Poly back in 2015 or 16. I can't remember. I was one of the judges here. They were still held in the business lecture hall, but now I think they normally do that in the Bronco Center, which can host more people. Yeah, so at the end you do the presentation, and then the judges will look at the demo and then give decisions. All right. To summarize, I think these days the tech presentations, the tech events are more popular, I would say, or it's more attractive than the traditional celebrities, traditional events, concert, those. Okay, it's just my personal opinion, because if you look at the news, if Apple hosts a news like a conference, a new event, you're gonna see more coverage than a celebrity hosts a concert. Okay, so that's kind of my theory. But I don't think this is the case 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I think right now it's just people are caring more about technology, internet, and mobile, and new innovation. So it's definitely a good time. And then you also need to know how to manage this. All right. So here is a kind of outline I would recommend for your presentation. Okay. So this is not really a standard, but this is some of the typical patterns that I have seen in different occasions. I will just list it here. So every team should follow this one to make your presentation. All right. So that means your presentation must have slides. Okay, this is the formal one. If you talk to the investor, you should have a slide, but also you need to have a live demo. So I'll talk more about that. But I want you to kind of follow this guideline to make your presentation, to make your slides, and then to present it in this way. All right, so I'll go through this one by one. Now, you obviously want to start with the problem first. And that's basically a very easy way to attract people's attention. And also, that's actually the most important thing people are looking for in the beginning. For anyone who has experience on entrepreneurship, on startups, they know this is a very critical issue, because in many cases, still, people make wrong decision on a problem. They saw that is a problem, but it's not a real problem, or it is a problem only for themselves, or they just made up a problem. They didn't verify it, and then, or some of the contact they choose wasn't right. So this is definitely a bigger problem than challenge than you thought. It's not really easy if you never verify this, if you never talk to customers deeply, and you sometimes can't really get this one perfect. But no matter what, you had to present what is that real life problem you're trying to solve, and then also convince people, so that if somebody who has a similar experience will have much more, uh, chance to kind of agree with you and then be interested. Right? Always start with that problem to capture people's eyes. Really important. Okay. Don't talk about anything about AI or other things. Just get on the problem first. Okay. And then this is the example I saw back in that hack poly I mentioned earlier. I remember there was a team that they just made this project. Okay, they used Raspberry Pi or Arduino. I forgot. They made this LED panel. A lot of you probably done something similar before. They program some kind of cool lights and show up some good night animation. Pretty good technical project. I saw probably some kind of sophomore junior student that made it. They spent a couple of days there and then just to make this work. Pretty cool. But when they do the demo, I saw this as a good technical project, but I was very surprised that almost all the judges were asking, okay, what is the goal of this project? What are you trying to solve? What the problem are you trying to solve? And then I didn't expect that because I thought this is only a college hackathon project. Well, obviously they just want to do something fun and technical or something. Why do you guys so picky on that problem? But at the same time, it actually shows all these judges. Most of them have business background. This is the thing they're looking for. Okay, when they're listening to a project, to an idea, they want to also, first of all, verify the problem exists. Okay, it is a meaningful problem to solve. All right, you can never escape from this question. All right, always double check your problem and then present that in a very concise, clear, and effective way. All right, one slide is enough. Try to get people agree with you on that kind of problem. All right, so that's the first bullet you should cover. Okay, and then after that, let's just dive into the solution. Okay, now this is how I'm going to solve my problem. I'm building an AI-based web service that allows people to search the course intelligently. All right, summarize, and then let me show you a demo. Now, the live demo part isn't always, you know, going to happen in the real investor um, demo days because normally they only give you 2 minutes. You can't really do it live demo, but for us, we can do that. All right. So don't talk about any of the too much technical in the beginning. Show the demo first. Okay. And then for the demo, we require everyone to run a live demo. Okay. So you will need to basically click on the link and then show it in the browser with the hosted link. Okay. Cloud-based link URLs, not your local host colon 3080. All right. So I'll have more specific requirements and you need to push your links to our website at the end. All right, so I'll write down some more requirements on that. So you need to basically run everything in a live mode and explain how your software is going to solve the problem. All right, as you demo it, of course, depending on how complex your system is, you need to show how the problem can be solved. You don't want to spend all the time to sign up a user, fill in all these attributes. Okay, we know that it's going to work. It's not really a big deal. All right. So focus on the core functionality and then really convince people that this is the solution. After the live demo, you can then briefly talk about the technical challenges. In our system, this part here actually is done by using some kind of machine learning library, or that one we actually use a new algorithm to find this location in a more efficient way, something like that. So highlight some of the technical challenges you guys accomplished so that we know what is the most difficult part of the project. Okay, so anyway, the solution will be quick summary, just live demo, and then some highlight some of the challenges you accomplished. All right, so that's the second bullet. The third part is that you need to actually start to talk about business side. Okay, this is the thing that you probably never saw too often, but we really want you to start to think about this one because since we told you that as to make investor type of pitch. Okay, so I want you to kind of think of more out of the technical field. All right, any kind of project, you need to make sure it's actually used for solve the problem. In other words, it can make money if it solves the problem. And then, so we want you to start to think about how can you make money. That means you need to present a business model for your project. All right. So again, you don't need to learn too much about the business things. The business model means that how can you make money? What is the model you want to use to have people to pay? For example, subscriptions. That's one way. For example, you can put ads there. Okay, that's another way. You can have people to just if you do some kind of transactions, like e-commerce side, you can then charge the commissions. You can charge certain fees or some other things. All right. So there are certain ways that you can use to generate revenue, but then you need to justify which one works for your service. All right. Now, this one you need to really think carefully. First of all, you should not say that we don't want to make money. We want this one just to be for free. Okay. It's a really bad answer. Every time I saw some teams saying that, okay, don't say that. No, this is the requirement that you need to think about. You can't run this thing for free. Okay. Even hosting the server requires money. Okay. And then later on, if you want to make some changes, who is gonna make it? All right, do you have time to make that all the time? You won't unless you put this full time. All right, whoever is making it, if you don't pay them, you can't, maintain the service effectively. Don't tell me you want to make an open source project and then do that for free for good. It doesn't work. Okay, any of those successful companies and product is not running by for free. Okay, so we don't want to hear this thing for free. Okay, don't say that. It's a very bad answer. It just means that you don't want to even think about this one. All right, think this seriously. If you are hosting this one, you're launching this, and now what would be the most realistic way to make money? Now, this one is not an easy answer. Okay, in many cases, it's much harder than you thought, and now sometimes if you don't verify it, you don't know if that works or not. But then we want you to justify it. You need to tell us why running ads will be the way to go, or why people would like to subscribe for it. All right. So again, we're not really trying to dig into exactly if this works. Just you need to think about that. All right. So show us your business model. I give you examples that a few years ago we were like very interested in this one idea. There is actually something similar like already. I don't know if this one still exists. Something called Eat With. All right, even if they exist, I don't think this one is going to work very well this year with the pandemic. But Eat With basically is the Airbnb for eating. Okay, instead of leaving somebody else's place, they basically go there to eat, go to somebody's house to eat, and the host will cook for them. And they basically saying that it's just a very good experience to travel to a new place, and then you taste some of the local food and everything, local culture, all of this, right? That's their idea. To be honest, I don't think this is a very good idea. I just don't see why I want to go to somebody else's place to eat. It doesn't really sound very exciting to me. But maybe somebody like it. I'm not sure how do you guys think? But I was very interested on this one. I'm not very into on this going to other places to eat, but I'm very interested in buying something to go from a housemate, a homemade food. Because sometimes it's for I don't know if you have this experience. I used to live in like South Tennessee, Alabama, some of those places. It's not like in Southern California, you can find any kind of food you want, right? So any kind of food, any country that you can find really good choices in restaurant here. It's not a problem. But then when you go to the South, it's not that case. Okay, it's very difficult to find some good, food from your culture. So that's why we came up with this idea that, well, why don't we have people to make the food by themselves, and then people can just order online, and then they just go to pick it up at the to go. We were not very interested in going to somebody else's place to eat. I just thought how many people would like to do that. So that was the project we're thinking, and we're very seriously thinking about making it. However, as when it comes to the business model, there are two ways you can do. There is one way that you can do a commission. For example, if you order something online, I'm going to charge you like 1%, 2% service fee that for me as a revenue. But then later on, we realize that if you do that, okay, and then when somebody buy this product for the first time and the next time, because once they go there to pick it up, they will know the host, and they can just exchange their contacts, and then in the future they don't have to go through a platform, just go there to buy directly, right? So that's definitely not a very good model. So we decided a better model is that we do kind of a subscription model. For example, the sellers, they will need to pay a monthly subscription fee so that their product will be listed online. So that fee is mostly for marketing purpose. And we don't really charge you per commission. The more you sell, the better, so that they will have the motivation to put their thing online, and then they don't need to just talk to the customers, off the table. And then so that's kind of a difference. So whatever you choose, you need to justify why that one works better. Okay. In reality, this is definitely a much tougher problem for startups, because any of the internet and mobile products is very easy to very hard to make money and generate revenues. A lot of these companies like Uber, Airbnb, if you look at their service, it's even after IPO they haven't really make a profit. It's difficult, but if you make it right, if you launch it successfully with the traffic, normally you can generate huge revenue when it's successful. All right, so the risks and the return are always on the same side. Is selling data? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you can definitely sell data. Not a problem. You can just put that one into your like a privacy statement. Nobody never read those. So whatever you want to do, it's not really a problem. Speaking of privacy, it's all your own choices. I really don't see that's a big issue. A lot of people are criticizing Facebook. People are criticizing Google. All of those. But then you should also remember Google provide all of these things for free, right? The Gmail is for free, Google Map is free, search is free, everything's free. So who's gonna pay their engineers, right? You gotta think about this one in a very realistic way. So that's why it seems that Google knows everything about you right now, but that's how you get all the free services. So there's nothing. I don't think there's anything like really wrong or anything. It's your choice, but I just telling you that selling data is totally fine, and you just want to make sure you kind of put that into the privacy statement or something like that, so that you won't get into trouble. All right. So anyway, that's a business model. All right. And then after that, okay, once you know how you're gonna make money, then you need to think about, if I use that model, how much money I can make in total. All right. So that means you need to analyze that market size. All right. So for this one, really the last thing you want to do is to say, oh, let's say that online marketing has like a $50 billion market size there. Is this like, let's say this new like energy, clean energy has a growing like $100 billion industry there. Okay, never present those kind of data. I can tell you, if you see those, the investors are going to get so bored on that. Okay, it's very ineffective. It's that number has nothing. You can't really verify it at all. Okay, you probably Google something and find something from a report. Who knows how they get that number? It doesn't mean anything. Even if there are $1 billion of industry market side there, so how that's going to relate with you, right? So for this one here, again, you need to show a very reasonable justification on the side. How do you get that number? And then what does that mean to your business? All right. So showing that process is more important than showing a total big number there. Okay. So I gave you a very concrete example. Now back to this example. At that time, we're talking about this idea. Okay. So let me clarify. So we're thinking about like an online service. People can sell the food they made at home and to other people as a to-go food. All right, it's online. Basically, it's online e-commerce site, but then we're specifically focusing on the homemade food. All right, and then we were using one example again. The motivation was very simple. At that time, when I was in Nashville, Tennessee, okay, we sometimes want to find some good Chinese restaurant. We can't find it. There are only like 2 or 3 Chinese restaurants in the whole city. All right. And also I can tell you that really sucks. For anyone who live in the south or in the mid area, okay, any of the beside all the big cities, you probably know what I'm talking about. But a lot of you probably just stay here in Southern California all the time, or Northern California. You don't really feel that. one day you go to all state, you I'm sure you will start to miss all this great food in California. But anyway, that was a big problem. So we believe that was a problem. And then if we are talking about building this site, okay, we want to estimate um, exactly how big the market site is. It sounds a lot, right? It sounds like, oh, if you launch this one, anyone could make food, and then all people are start to buy. And if we're talking about the whole country, that's going to be a lot, right? But we did some calculation. The number actually wasn't too big. Okay, so let me show you how we do that. So we were only, for example, we're only talking about, I think, we were thinking, okay, why don't we just focus on the Chinese population first? Since we were very familiar with it, and then we know the needs, we know there are people who can make food, we know the people are interested in those foods. So let's just start with that. Okay, so this is how we do the calculation. Now, first of all, the main thing you need to think about is how many people will actually go to make food and sell it online. All right. So because that's basically the drive. All right. So if nobody gonna make food and sell it, then there's nothing you can do on the website. So that's the number one thing that basically determines how much goods you can generate. All right. So as we do the calculation, we're thinking that okay. So first of all, if you're a student, you probably won't do this. All right. If you are working, also you won't do this. All right. So very likely, it's probably a housewife or some of the maybe people that who don't have work or something like that. Okay, so this is how we do the calculation. I think we're saying, okay, first of all, the age group, if we look at that, probably this 25 to 54, that's the right group to do it. Okay, otherwise too young, they're gonna not do it. Too old, then they probably also won't do that. At least most of them. So there are 40% of people, they will probably have the opportunity to cook and then sell it. All right. So as we start to do the calculation, I remember this 3.8 million means that there are 3.8 million like Chinese people in the U.S. Okay, that's the number. I'm sure that's the number is higher than this, but this was back in like 10 years ago. So among all of these people, we times 50%. Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me clarify. 50% is means that female. Okay, so we believe maybe female are more likely to make this one, right? So let's just get rid of the half of the male. Let's estimate only half of them probably potentially will have the willing to do it. And then the 40% means that this age group. Okay, we only look at this uh, the mid age, I don't know how we call it. Okay, so that group to do it. And then 10% is unemployment rate. Okay, if they have full-time job, again, they probably won't do it. But then if they're not working, very likely they would like to try this. So the 10% that comes from here. All right. And then so if we use that number, if you times all of it together, that means your potential sellers, okay, who could actually make food and sell it, is 76,000 people in the whole country. All right. Now, if you look at this number, it doesn't sound too many. Okay, so that's how you can just kind of justify all the steps. All right, let's say that okay, you got this group of users who can potentially make food and sell it, but how many can you convince them to actually do it, right? Obviously, not going to be everybody. I think if you do successful, let's say like 10% of them will choose to actually eventually do it. That's already very successful. Think about for that group, like a female, mid-age, and then staying home, no job, and then 10% of them want to do this business. That's actually a lot. So that's going to give you 7,600 people for the whole country who will actually use this platform to sell food. Now, when you get this number, you start to see it's actually not really a lot. Okay. And then we're saying that if they can like generate $100 per day, okay, every one, okay, that means that every day the whole revenue going through the platform is $706,000. Okay, that's a revenue for, let's say, per like a host. Okay, obviously some people can sell more than that, some people can sell less. We're if we are thinking about like a commission fee, for example, we charge 2% commission. That means every day out of 706,000, and we can generate 15,000 per day, okay, as a revenue for the platform. So that is the market size, and then that is what it means for your like revenue. Okay, so if you're generating 15,000 per day, obviously it's not bad, but at the same time, it's isn't huge, right? And also this estimation, you know, we don't know if you can get 10%, and also we don't know if you can actually get $100 per day. So a lot of question marks here. Okay, I think this is not a very conservative estimation. This is probably, at least in the early stage, you can't really get to this number. Okay. However, if you spend a lot of money, if you say, for example, I put like $5 million to work on this for 3 years, and then you get this number, it won't feel very like successful. All right, because think about, you need to calculate how much time you need to get all the investment back. All right, so this is the kind of a thing, kind of a thinking you need to have. It doesn't matter how inaccurate these numbers are. What matters is the way you calculate this one, the way you analyze this and estimate this, because that allows you to see a lot of things potentially, the risks, the uncertainties, or the part that you need to focus. All right. So that's market size. And one more time for business side, you tell us how you want to make money. What does it mean in terms of market size, and then the generated value. All right. All right. Now, after that, that's the only business thing you want to talk about. All right. After that, really important, guys, you need to sell your team. Okay. You need to have a dedicated slide to show all the 4 or 5 team members. Okay. Put your picture there, and then always name, and then, but importantly, highlight the experience. Okay. Now, you don't need to show name and then senior, junior, Cal Poly, CS major. We all know this information. Okay. You need to highlight their their expertise, special background. For example, Tom. Okay, and then uh, Google internship summer 2019. All right, so that is something special. Or you will say, um, um, uh, Alan, help the family-owned business, something like that. You highlight the expertise and the special expertise that related with your product. Okay, that's how you can make this team very convincing. And I can tell you that this one here, the team, the people, okay, are so much more important. Okay, in days are so much more important than your actual idea or your actual product. Okay, for investors, if your team has somebody, or if your team is led by somebody who have done a successful startup, you're almost guaranteed to get investment. Okay, because if somebody has finished a startup successfully, no matter how successful, no matter whether it's IPO, acquisition, or just generate stable revenue, and it's really easy for this person to make another successful business. And in many cases, it's going to be make bigger, be better. That's why if you see a lot of these successful entrepreneurs, for example, Elon Musk, okay, we won't call him entrepreneur, he's so successful. But then if you look at his, history, he had a couple of companies before, getting to Tesla, all of the others. But those companies were all successful. Okay, so that's the kind of the experience. It's really important, because if you make this whole thing work, and then you will know exactly how to make it again, how to make it better, how to make it more optimized. And then this is definitely something that you never can learn unless you do it. That's why the first time you do the startup is very, very risky. A lot of people see 95% fail, 90% fail. I think the real problem is higher than that. It's really difficult. But if you got a chance to be, successful, or sustain and survive, that kind of experience is so valuable. And even if you fail, it doesn't matter. I think that experience still helps for you to increase your chance for the next time. So it's really not easy. I've been like involved in the startup all the time in the past, almost 10 years in different forms. I didn't really dedicate to one thing, but I started to dedicate more on some of the project we're doing. That's also another thing I started to realize that. And in the beginning, just making something quickly is really not difficult. But when you start to try to maintain the team and then really grows and deal with all this increasing number of issues, it's really difficult. It requires a lot of skills and experience and leadership and all these decisions. All right. So, but then if you've been through that once, next time we do it, it's just very smooth and natural. All right. So that's why these days a lot of investors are just looking at the team, at people. It really doesn't matter what you do. For example, today if Musk came to you and told you another like idea, no matter what he says, I think people will invest because I think none of us can think about is even creator idea than sending people to Mars or launching satellite and then making the electrical car, and he can even make those. What else he can make, right? So that's basically the power of important people. And also I have seen quite a lot of successful startups that quickly go to IPO, and then if you pull and then look at their founders, normally they've been to IPO before, or they had a very successful acquisition before for the companies, because they know exactly what to do. Just like when you play games, some of you are very good at a game. I don't know what you guys play, but if you get to a certain level, if we ask you to switch from one game to another, I don't know some of the uh, what do you play, like League of Legends, and I'm sure there are some alternative games. It won't take you too much time to be also good at the other game. Same kind of principle and an idea. All right. So experience is important, but this is also Roblox. Okay. Yeah. So this is definitely something you keep in mind. Now, of course, for now, we don't expect to see any special experience, but one day when you present your project to others, if you are really doing something seriously on startup, that team is very important. Okay. And then finally, and you can brief it. This one isn't too important, but this is like if you've seen Shark Tank, normally at the end they will say, "Oh, how much money they want to raise." Okay, you're talking to the investor, you need money, and then well, if you are asking that money, then how much equity you want to give, all right, and then also you want to explain how you want to use the money. You want to use the money for server, for marketing, for hire more developers, all of those. How much? Okay, it's a very good practice to actually think about that, because one day if you do the startup, you basically have to go through the same thing. And then also if you asking that money based on the business model, based on the market side, you can tell them how long it's going to take you to break even or to at least make that much investment. Or you can also talk about return, so that investors feel more comfortable of giving that money. They can see a quick return, from you. All right. So these are the points we want to have. Okay. So to kind of summarize, you start with the problem, and then solution with the live demo, business model, market size, and talk about your team. Eventually, ask for money, and then talk about your break-even plan. Okay. So any questions so far? All right, so I will put this slides online, and then you can use this one as a guidance, okay, to talk about your project. So some of the tips about the presentation, okay, I just want to talk about the most important part. Number one is slides, and then this one I would already know, okay, just to make it really simple, clean, um, less text, okay. Don't ask like how much basic, the less the better. If you can show a graph, that's even better. I think really the less the better, the less text the better, because you have been doing so many lectures, okay? You all know like how boring it is to just watch the slideshows from professors one after another, and then it's very hard to follow. And afterward, you still need to download the slides and look at that again. It's very boring. Okay, so just some images, graphical visualization, big titles. That's always preferred. Okay, all right. So and then very important thing I want to talk to you about this one is when we are showing a live demo, all right, so that's always the most difficult part. And the interesting thing is it's actually much more challenging than everyone can think. All right, if you've never done a live demo, you won't know how difficult it is. I have to say that I'm pretty confident right now on running any kind of live demo in front of a class. Um, some of the demos are difficult, some demos are easier, but I don't have a very high rate of failing, except the last week. Um, for the live demos, I do a lot better. But in the first year, I had quite a lot of failed demos in the class. And I can tell you, if there's something failed in the class, very likely you just cannot fix it in front of everyone. Okay, very difficult, because it just you can't just do that when everybody's watching you and waiting, and it's almost impossible. All right, but that thing already happens. Okay, because sometimes you prepare something beforehand and then you just didn't follow the step or something else happened. You're not familiar with all the causes, and then you just don't know what's going on. Or sometimes software updates, the version change, new conflicts, all this kind of uncertainties. Or sometimes you just have bugs. All right. So for the live demo, whenever we ask you the live demo, very importantly, you should have a demo script to follow. Okay, whoever is charging the demo, you guys need to rehearsal, and you need to know exactly how you want to demo that step by step. Now, if you prepare in one way, then you should do this exactly the same way for the actual final demo. You don't want to be creative and then do another new one. Okay, for example, you often sign up a user, log in and create a course. You don't want to just go there and then log in without sign up and then just start to edit the course. Don't do that. Okay, I can guarantee that if you start to like play around with different things in the actual demo, there are going to be things that are broken. All right, so never risk your live demo. It's very difficult in many cases. That uncertainty happen. Also, for the project, I think a lot of the projects are in a very early stage. It's already very buggy. Okay, and also I mentioned if you some things are not working or have bugs, well, you don't have to show it, or we're not going to dig into it and test everything. Okay, show the things working and show how you can convince people that this is going to solve the problem. And then people don't mind about bugs. Okay, all the software have bugs. We want to show how your solution is going to helping the problem solving. Okay, that's the key, the purpose of the demo. So that's why you want to show a very smooth demo and then focus on the core functionality. All right, just don't risk yourself with something you never tried before. Okay, very risky. Now the Wi-Fi isn't much issue in the regular cases. Okay, because a lot of projects are internet based. However, I really want to remind you about this one. When you go to the conference or treat shows like this, normally the Wi-Fi is terrible, and also there are so many people there, so it's going to give you a lot of challenges. Another case is you go to someone else place to demo it. Sometimes you're in a guest Wi-Fi, and that also is going to cause some issues. This is just something you need to keep in mind if you are running demo in some new environment. I don't think this issue is as bad as before, but we had a lot of issues on this one, about 8 or 10 years ago, because at that time the project requires uploading files, so that's why it caused a lot of issues with the demo. So something you definitely need to keep in mind, but not really for this case. Okay. And then lastly, just make sure it's short, concise. This is also the same principle. The less the better. That's why most these days, the presentation, the demo days are only 2 minutes. I think we're going to give you about 4 minutes. Okay, not 2 because we want you to do the demo as well. But most of the startup pitch are only 2 minutes. Also, if you look at Shark Tank, it's also really short, but it's really enough. If you see those good presentations, it's really enough. There's a book called Less is More. So it's same idea, right? So it's kind of good mindset to make your things very concise. It's not easy. Normally, it's much difficult to shrink something rather than like put a lot of details and make a lot of pages. All right, but that's another kind of a good tip to keep in mind. Finally, you should have some kind of backups. All right. So this is really important for the big events, and you normally have backup. And the big company have backups. I can show you some good examples. In your case, if your cloud version breaks, at least you need to know how to actually open the local version to show it. Okay, otherwise nobody can help you. So, or at least you can have some kind of backup videos so that people can still see that. Okay. For our presentation, if you're confident, you don't have to prepare those, but I just want to show you the tip. If you go to somewhere else, always have some kind of backup plan, okay? And never underestimate the challenge of running live demos. I personally did a lot of those in the past. When we're doing the AR example, that were some of the very challenging demos because there were a lot of uncertainties about the images, the computer vision algorithms, the AI. There were accuracy issues, stable issues. But again, if you prepare those well enough, normally you can control those risks. All right. I think these are the things I want to share. Okay. Let me show you one good demo. Okay. So I was searching for something. Now this one comes from the YC, the Y Combinator. Okay. Does anyone know YC? All right, so you should take a look at this one. Okay, so this is the most famous accelerator programs in the Bay Area. And then, if you see those companies, okay, they all grow from YC. So basically, they have this program that if you have a project, you got a team, you want to work at a startup, and then you can apply. And then if they accept you, they give you some kind of a seed funding, and then they invite you to their headquarters to work on a startup for 3 months. They give a lot of mentorship. At the end, you grow your product, and then you do a demo day. You run the demo, and then they invite investors. And then if somebody are interested, they will probably invest their money. So to help you grow. At the return, they will have some of the equity. They take like 7-8%, I think. But then if you look at all these companies, some of those already went to IPO. It's all come from YC. So it's very successful accelerator programs. So they have the program once every half year, I think twice a year. So very successful. And then here is one, I just found out one like a random presentation. I think it's pretty good. Let me actually make sure I open the audio.
Hi, my name is Matthias, and we are GetAccept. We are reinventing the sales proposal and e-signing workflow to help salespeople close more deals. Did you know that 60% of all sales proposals just end up in a black hole? That's when you hear nothing back from the customer, not a yes or a no. That's a lot of lost money. But we have the solution. Let me show you how it works. This is Carl, sales manager at S Hotel. He's about to send out his proposal. And to make it more personal, he attached a video to present the sales document. GetAccept then track the recipient's behavior to predict and take the next action automatically. In this case, when the proposal is viewed, we start a personalized retargeting campaign to engage the recipient. Finally, they discuss about the terms in the live chat, and the deal gets signed. By using sales automation from GetAccept, our customers close 83% more deals than the industry. That's why salespeople love us. So now, let's take a look at our numbers. We are growing fast, and we have gone from 0 to 200,000 in ARR since our launch in December. That's a growth of 23% week over week. And we have generated 350 paying customers already. So actually, this is not a question of validation. It's a question about expansion. There are 20 million B2B salespeople out there, and we charge them $45 per user per month. Previously, we have built the biggest marketing automation company in Scandinavia, so we know how to execute. Let's recap. We are growing really fast, and we are a team of successful entrepreneurs. And I think you all get it now. We help our customers to make more money, we make money, and you could make money. So come and talk to us. We are GetAccept, and we are changing the proposal and e-signing workflow. Thank you.
All right, so that was like you can see 2.5 minutes. All right, very short, concise, very clear. Everyone got the problem and their solution, and then it sounds like they are making revenues, generating revenue already. Their team pretty good. So that's all. And then the investor, once they see it, if they have special resources, they have experience, if they're engaged by this idea, they will reach out, and that's what the presentation look like. Now we can have more time on than that. I would say about 4 minutes, because we can also run a live demo. But then if you run a live demo, it also should be very, very concise. Okay, so that's what a good investor pitch look like. Also, there are a lot of things from like Shark Tank. You can Google those, but those are too commercial. Those are not really the same type. So I would recommend this YC demos, and you can look at a lot of those. All right, any questions? Let me show you some of the failed demos. Not sure how many of you seen this one before. Okay, the Microsoft failed demo.
Surface. Surface is, of course, great for entertainment. It has access to all of the Windows apps for music, for video, for Xbox and gaming. We can see here, I'm running Internet Explorer. I can browse smoothly, see great pages using ClearType, and have a great experience just with with browsing. Its 10.6-inch optically bonded widescreen display is custom designed for Surface. And of course, people play games. I can go and play any of the interesting games that are in the Windows Store, and I can use Surface for using all the sensors that are within Windows as well. Surface works for all of those games. Movies and entertainment look great as well. Oops. Hang on just a moment. Excuse me just a second. Surface works great for entertainment as well. In fact, I'm going to show here for the first time a very exciting new application. This is the Netflix application, designed specifically for Windows 8. Now, with the wide screen, you get 30% more viewing area and no banding or letterboxing like you traditionally see.
All right, so well, at least this one is funny, but at least they have backups. Okay, it's really important to have some kind of backups. So this is pretty important in the big companies, and they always have multiple levels backups just in case something happens. But it's you think about this from Microsoft, right? Big company, great team, and they obviously prepare this one so much, but still there's things that you really cannot prevent. All different issues, right? So it's just difficult, all right? So just don't underestimate the challenges and then prepare it well, all right? So anyway, to summarize, for our presentation, you will need to get your slides ready, live demo, deploy that, and then later on, we'll ask everyone to go to our project site to update your website. All right, so you need to put like this links there. Okay, so put some of the link about the your actual project, your slides, and then GitHub link. That's what you need to deliver at the very end. However, for the live demo, guys, it's important that you show us that you go there to go with the domain name to access it. Okay, we don't require you to have domain name, but it's really good to have domain name. If not domain name, that's okay. You need to at least show us a cloud server name, okay, EC2 or something else. But you don't want to show us a local host because it's not convincing. All right, it's not professional. Okay, so any questions? Yeah, so no, for your question, yeah, because they can't really run the live demo for us, we're still like a computer science topic, so we want to see the technical details. So show the live demo and highlight the technical challenges, Okay, you don't have to talk about everything, but just to highlight some of the challenges you accomplish from the project. Yes, Jeff. So it's next Thursday. All right. Our final deliverables for this course, okay, I'm mainly asking for 3 links. Remember, the link to your project, the link to your GitHub, and then also the link to the presentation. All right, so let me find some examples, see if anyone done this one in a good way. All right, see here, guys. The website, I don't think this one's still open. Oh, actually, no, it still works. Very good. All right, so who made this one? Very impressive. I still have this project here. So you got a website here, your actual project, okay? And then you got our presentation. All right. And then your GitHub link. So that is what we're looking for. Okay, let me show you, send this one as example. So who made this? All right, very good. I don't know anyone, some of those already graduate. Okay, so let me actually send this link here. This is a very good demo. Okay, it's the site's still working. All right, and then at the end, we also will send you a survey. Remember, okay, we'll have a survey for everyone to fill up. The purpose of that survey is mainly for you to evaluate your teammates' contribution. So I know some of you were talking about the team members are not very active or anything. So it doesn't mean that we don't care, okay? Everyone should make a contribution. There are just tons of ways to tell the contribution. The easiest way is simply go to the GitHub repository to see everyone's contribution. It's pretty easy to see that. All right, so make sure you're making contribution, you're communicating with the whole team, okay? This is a team project, however, at the end, it's not that everyone will get the same grade. So the individual contribution matters, okay? So just to make sure that everyone work with the team together, okay? Don't be just silent, especially if this is online right now, and that's even more important. All right, so we will have a survey eventually to have you to evaluate each other's contribution. And then never come to talk to me about, oh, somebody is not like making progress. Okay, it's fine. I think, you never should be complaining if you're doing more work, because I think if you do more work, you're just learning and gaining more experiences. Okay, there's nothing wrong with it. All right, just but at the same time, try to coordinate with the team and try to get something there. Okay, and if not, that's okay. You still try to show your presentation. But just because if you complain that and come back to me for those, there's really not much I can do about it. And then in normal cases, I actually saw very good um, teamwork in our 480 class in the undergraduate version. I'm also sometimes teach the 580 for the master students. I normally see a bigger challenge there. I don't know for why. Uh, very often there's 1 or 2 team at the end that came to me, fight each other, or like one person came first and then complained and he left and the other person came afterwards and then started complaining. And then the worst scenario I saw 2 years ago, there was one team and then eventually they split up by in the last week, and then they did 2 presentations separately. And then so that was the only time I saw that happen. But don't let that happen. Okay, so try to play some leadership, and then do more work. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, but at the same time, everyone should making some contributions. All right. Any other questions? All right, so I'm gonna stay here, okay, for like 20 minutes or so if you want to chat more about things. And then don't forget on Thursday. All right, so we get Isaac come here, and Bring your question, bring your resume, okay? Get his contact and then generate get some referrals. I think he will help you to do it. All right. Don't feel Apple is something really that difficult. It's actually not. It's all same. Right? You never know what's gonna happen, and uh, I think they're all like hiring a lot. And Apple definitely has tons of money and cash, so they always hire. Uh, and so definitely try to learn something. Okay. Oh, what happened? All right, I gotta check that one. All right, guys. We will see you on Thursday.